Welcome back to part 2 of Introduction to Indices. So here we've got a few things written in index form. We want to try and turn them into standard form. So remembering back to the last video, index form is when it's written with an indice attached to it. Remembering that this is the indice and this here is the power. So this time we're using numbers instead of letters like we did in the last video. And I've got a better texter this time. So here I've got 2 to the power of 6. So that doesn't mean 2 times 6, okay? It doesn't mean 2 times 6. Super important. The number of times I've seen on Facebook people answering those questions wrong. I don't know, on Facebook you see these memes of maths. Anyway, it doesn't mean 2 times 6, okay? It means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 1, 2, 3, 5 times 2, okay? The 6 tells you how many 2's there are. All right, when you're on Facebook, I want you to get those questions right. Do it for me, please. All right, so now here I've got 5 to the power of 3. Does it mean 5 times 3? No, it doesn't. It means 5 times 5 times 5. 5 happens 3 times. Okay, and now down here I've got the number 1 to the power of 9. So it's 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2 more, 8, 9. Okay, cool. Now let's see if we can actually solve these. So I've got 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And let me show you that it is not 12, because if it were 2 times 6, it would be 12. So 2 2's are 4. Let me write these down as I go. So that's 4, those 2. And then I'm timesing it again, so that makes it 8. Then 8 times 2 is 16. 16 times 2 is 32. 32 times 2 is 64. Okay, so it equals 64. Let me rub that working out. Now here I've got 5 5s are 25. Times 5 is 125. All right, awesome. And then I've got all these 1s. But it's not 1 times 9, is it? No, it's not. It's 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, and it does not equal 9, it equals 1. Because no matter how many times you times 1 by itself, it is still 1. Awesome, and there we go. We have done our index form to standard form, and then we solve them. Now here, I like to use BIDMAS. Some people use BODMAS. Some people use PEDMAS. Yeah, I like BIDMAS because in BIDMAS, the I stands for indices, right? The I means indices. Hooray! Wonderful, I know what that is. Now when people use BODMAS, apparently the O in BODMAS stands for order, which is supposed to mean like indices. I don't get it. I like BIDMAS personally, but you use whatever floats your boat. Just remember that the thing that comes directly after the B is supposed to be your indices or exponents or powers or whatever it is you like to call them, okay? So first is brackets, then comes indices, all right? So that's the second most important thing when you're looking at an equation or whatever. All right, so here we've got 15 minus 3 squared. So obviously let's solve this using our BIDMAS. Now, there's no brackets. So there's no B, so I'm then moving on to indices. So the first thing that I'm going to be doing is my 3 squared. So 3 times 3 gives me 9. So this is 15 minus 9. 15 minus 9 equals 6. Yay! Had we done it any other way, had we gone 15 minus 3, that would have given us 12. And then if we squared 12, we'd get 144. So that is wrong. So you've got to make sure that you do your things in order. Okay, cool, let's have a go at this one. So here we've got 4 squared plus 2 brackets, 2 plus 1, close bracket, times 2. All right, so we're going to work in order from left to right. So first up, we're going to do brackets. So our brackets are here. So 2 plus 1 gives us 3. All right, and then I've got 4 squared plus, and then a times. All right, next up, I'm going to be doing my indices because that's step 2 of my BIDMAS. So 4 squared, 4 4's are 16, so it's 16 plus 3 times 2. Okay, so now Next up, there's no division. Next up is multiplication. So 13 times 2 gives me 26 plus 16. Then I'm going to be adding those two together. 16 plus 26. 42. Yay! And there we go. We've solved these two questions using BIDMAS, knowing that the I in BIDMAS stands for indices. All right, and lastly, something that is really important to know about indices is that your indice is only attached to the last thing or to the thing that it's touching. Technically, it doesn't actually touch anything. It's just written really close to. So here, my indice is only attached to the last thing. It is only attached to this a. So I've got 4a to the power of 3. The indice is only attached to this a, okay? So what this actually means is 4 times a times a times a. So there's only 3 a's, okay? The 4 doesn't get repeated 3 times, it's only the a. All right, so they're a team, okay? My indice is only attached to the thing that it's like directly up against. You know what I mean? Like the thing that it's touching, even though technically it's not touching. But you know what I mean. Here I've got AB to the power of 2. My power here, my indice is only attached to the B. Okay, it is only attached to the last thing. So this means A times B times B. So there needs to be 2 B's if I was to write it in standard form. Now here, this is an interesting one. Notice how my 2 isn't actually touching my A in there. It's actually attached to the brackets. So this is a funny case. It's touching my brackets. So what that means is the brackets themselves and everything in them gets repeated however many times. So it's 2A times 2A. Technically I could put my brackets in there, but they're not really necessary. See what I mean? How the whole brackets gets repeated. Yeah? All right, and there we have it. We have written our index forms and expanded forms. We've solved some BIDMAS questions, and then we've learned something really important about indices, that the indice is actually only attached to the thing that it's up against. Awesome. Thank you for watching.